Today I'm in the country of Netherlands to visit the Film Museum, which explores film history and culture. Now, this strange looking building behind me was opened up by a Dutch member of the royal family, Queen Beatrix, back in April 2012. The building houses 4 cinemas and 2 galleries. One shows film history with vintage equipment and clips, and the other focuses on experimental cinema. So let's go inside and see what we can take a look at. Now, just as I'm heading in, if you're ever thinking of visiting this place yourself, it's right in the centre of Amsterdam. In fact, if I just pan this way a little bit, you can see on that building right in the background there, it literally has Amsterdam written on the top of it. So that there is the main city, and all you got to do is just get a ferry boat across, which is free, and then you're right here at the Film Museum. Feel free to screenshot that if you want to have a read. So in this museum, it has like an upstairs and a downstairs. Right now I'm just exploring the downstairs, and down over here we have some very old cinema cameras which look pretty cool. What you're looking at here is the Mitchell camera. It was invented in 1917, and this is basically what was the standard issue for Hollywood because of its stability and reliability. And they would have used cameras like this on films like Star Wars and Citizen Kane. It's almost like what you'd associate with what being a classic camera when you see a logo for films, like an emoji, for example. So this one we're just looking at now, this is known as the Reverie camera. Being able to watch films at home had existed since the early days of cinema, but this one here, which is invented around the 1950s, this is what really blew it up and allowed more people to, it became more accessible to watch movies at home with this type of camera. So here, this is pretty interesting. You've got film reels for when they used to do them this way. So basically, if you don't know much about film reels, it's basically a static image and almost like a flip book. One is placed after the other, and then when you play it through, like on a rotary motion, then it gives the illusion of movement. I'm sure most people know this, but I thought I'd just explain it anyway. So when you just take the film reels that I just showed you and you load them into a machine like this, if you watch up here, that square image, as I rotate this, it will rotate the film reel through there and show you image by image. Watch this. See? And as those pictures are all together, it creates a moving image. Pretty cool and fun to do. I'm sure like families would enjoy this sort of thing. Kids I know would enjoy lots of things in here because there's lots of hands-on things in here, which is pretty cool. Just seeing a camera like this one makes me feel very old because I do remember these around in the 90s. Obviously we don't really use these. You can still use them, but they're not in, everything's upgraded since then. But I remember having like an uncle would come around like, oh, cool, what's that? And then he'd show you this, like, just recorded his trip to Disneyland and showing us it all using a camera that's very similar to this one. So this is the Sony VX1000, and the very first film shot with this was The Idiots, which is shot in 1998 using, of course, this Sony VX1000. And it was one of the very first films shot in its entirety with a digital camera. So here we have the Holmes camera. Now, it was in about 1927 that films actually started to talk, and it was mostly down to a camera such as this. Here we have what is considered a precursor to animated film. I think it's called a zoetrope. I think I'm saying that right. It's invented in 1834, and it's basically like a flip book. What you do is you just point there, you load the pictures all in there, each image one by one, and then you look through just one of these slits in here and then rotate it, and then you'll see the whole thing move. And they've got one here to demonstrate. Check this out. So you can see in there all the different images. Just look through just one of these, you can see a static image, but when I move that, magic. Here we have the stereoscope, which was developed shortly after the invention of photography in 1826. Photography recorded light and thus captured reality precisely, and yes, I am reading this off the description. The stereoscope then added depth. Together they formed a next step in the history of film and development of 3D. The stereoscope offered a window on the world, bringing images from everywhere into people's living rooms. So that's pretty neat, the stereoscope. Into the early history of film, we have the mutoscope, which you basically, they'd put, let's see, as you can see, it says up there, Charlie Chaplin, the waiter. So someone would put a couple of coins in there and then look through there, and it would play like almost like a little mini short film for you. Black box here is called a diorama, and basically what you do is one person would look through here, and you'll be able to see it. You can see lots of different images created, almost like a theatre stage, with different things going from the front of the stage in the foreground to the back of the stage. I don't know if you can even see that very clearly or not, but it's to create the illusion of depth. And then what they would do is then create much bigger ones of these, and that then became known as a panorama rather than a diorama. See, even I'm learning something here. So I'm now in the film catcher room. As you can see, lots of images of various films throughout history. Something about seeing all these clips in here at once, it does look pretty fascinating. I'm just going to give you like a little pan around. And then you can see a clip that you like and learn about it on this tablet here. So I've just sat down in one of these booths, and you've got a pair of headphones here, and you can see a screen here, and you can select a film and then watch it on the screen up here. Basically creating your own little cinema, basically. Although if you're expecting to see things like Transformers or something like that on there, you're going to be gutted. Obviously we're in the Netherlands, so we've got some very foreign films here, and obviously they are films that are a lot further back in time. Can I find a film that I've heard of here? Charlie Chaplin at the Circus. Do you recognise any of the films here or seen them? I know, like I said, some of these are probably not even going to heard of because they're far. Oh, The Wizard of Oz. There we go. There's a lad in there, but very different. Raging Bull. Martin Scorsese film. And now we moved on to green screen. Okay, so it turns out the green screen isn't really working at the moment, so we're going to give that one a miss. So now I've just walked into the animation gallery and can learn about stop motion puppet films. Some of these guys look creepy. Nightmare fuel. So here we learn about a studio known as Dollywood, which was set up by Jupe Kazink, and he was basically like the Walt Disney over here, and he produced lots of advertising films using stop motion, using the puppets that you can see in the background here. If there's one of these puppets that looks a bit nightmare fuel inducing, it's this guy. So here we have a very common animation technique called cell animation. And feel free to screenshot that. This is another one of those things I just love. Check this out. So you've got an umbrella on this side, and you've got a man and a woman on this side. And if I just spin it, it looks like he's holding the umbrella.
je schilderij gekocht?
Ja, en die was alleen maar voor steden. Vakantie.
So
Voor
cool.
vakantie.
Mag ik een keer heen?
Now, although this isn't included in my ticket because I didn't think it worthy, because I wouldn't be able to actually show you anything that's behind you on that screen for fear of copyright. But this is basically screen 4 of one of the 4 cinemas, so I just wanted to let you take a look. Now, I've just noticed as I come up this staircase we have foreign film posters here. Here we have Shaun the Sheep, or Shaun the Sheep as we know it. Probably one of the many films showing in cinema screen 3 today. If there was one film that I would have watched in here today, it probably would have been that. So as you can see here we have the cafe, which has a very nice view. But now we're going to head upstairs and see the next part of the museum. So I hope you can see me in here. This is the Garrett Bradley exhibit, and it explores how historical images help shape our view of the world. So there'll be a lot of his work obviously in here. Garrett Bradley Revolutions, and you can see all his work here. I'm going to have to keep talking because you can hear music in the background, but I'm just going to show you quick glimpses of this. So here's more of his work, and from what I briefly read, he's more of an abstract documentarian. So what we have here is what looks like a sheet of material up there, and it's just showing images across in various rooms. There's one that goes off that way, you probably can't even see in the dark here, and one goes off that way as well. Not quite sure what to make of that. To me that just looked like a blank screen back there, I didn't really get that one. You're probably seeing like a flashing image across there of colour, but that's not actually what's going on, that's just tricking the camera, that is. But yeah, there we go, this is probably more one of those things I don't really quite appreciate. I'll be honest with you, this sort of room is probably not something that's more geared towards me, but I'm sure there's some lovers of it out there. The one thing I am definitely looking for in here is the exit. I can't find it because there's like 4 or 5 rooms connected together, and I genuinely can't find the exit.
Are you color struck?
Wittgang, exit, found it. Now, I'll be honest with you, that part of the museum wasn't really for me. It was a little bit too abstract. Now we're going to take a look at the biggest screen, screen 1. These seats are quite comfortable. What I've just noticed on these is like the aircon system seems to be down by my legs, which is different. So these are the films that are showing on in the cinemas today. And now we're entering the gift shop. Jaws poster. Warning, warning. Is that the one that goes like that? Hey, it's the Terminator. Woman of the Galaxy. Yeah, I can hear that one. Star Trek Cats puzzle. That is bizarre. The art of soundtrack covers. Jaws 3D. Oh dear. These are neat little film canister cases. Love this. So more of the music boxes. Wow, they've got like Frozen here. Already done the Lion King, Toy Story. I like these ones because they've actually got the pictures on there. So I think that would make quite a nice souvenir. Try the Toy Story one. I like that one, that's good. That is cool, I like that. I hope that doesn't get me a copyright strike, but these are really cool. Tempted to get one. See how much they are, they're €12.95. Have some film pin badges. And DVDs. So let's see what DVDs we've got here. We've got Denzel Washington in The Hurricane. Werner Herzog collection. Werner Herzog, I have seen a few things of his. He's an actor as well as a filmmaker. The documentary that I remember of his was, I think it was Grizzly Man. Very interesting, that one. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Basically, there's a guy, not Werner Herzog, but he's filming it. There's a guy who's literally living amongst bears. You probably know how that's going to end. But yeah, he's been in quite a few films. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, but I think he was in The Mandalorian actually, as Werner Herzog, amongst other films. Got Japanese anime here. This is the only one I can see here, but there is a Japanese animation here. I guess it's just trying to give you a bit of variety. Happy socks. And some t-shirts. I think that's Batman on that one. Spider-Man there. You've got various books about here, the history of cinema, documentary film, and so yeah, basically your typical souvenirs you'd find in a souvenir shop. My favourite's probably got to be the music box. So that concludes the tour of the iFilm Museum. It was nice to try something different. It was €14 to get in, maybe a little overpriced because it was quite short, but I did actually like parts of it. In fact, my favourite part of it was the film cameras. I really enjoyed looking around the film cameras through history. The other bit upstairs was a bit more abstract. I didn't really like that much. It was a bit lost on me. And the only other part to it is the cinemas, which you do have to pay extra for to see some of those films. But being like me, being a Brit, you're not really going to really appreciate them because of course they are foreign movies. But my find from the souvenir shop was those two music boxes. I picked up the Harry Potter one and the Toy Story one. They are pretty good. So I got those. If you did enjoy it, do press the like and subscribe button. And of course you can check out my other playlists, which have things like movie rankings, movie locations, and reviews on the latest films to hit the cinema. I want to thank you again for watching. Until next time, I'll see you at the movies.